I think I would define it as just picking up somebody from a bar. That's been my experience anyway. Or picking up somebody that you just met and just kind of going for it.
Right on. Be careful though. I mean, don't go out without your raincoat, if you know what I'm talking about.
If you're going to do that, use protection because you don't know where they've been.
Don't be a fool, wrap your tool.
And they could have a baby if you're a guy, or you could have a baby if you're a girl. That's scary to me.
I don't have a problem with other people doing it, as long as they're okay. I mean,
I have never had a one-night stand with a stranger.
I would never personally do a one-night stand with a stranger.
Personally, I don't think I'd do it just because of safety / you don't really know people.
I have had a one-night stand with a stranger.
I've had a one-night stand with a stranger.
I've never had a one-night stand with a stranger, but I don't think it's like a bad thing to do. I just have really never had the opportunity.
I know lots of people have done it and they seem fine with it, so for them that's great.
I have never had a one-night stand with a friend. When you mess around with friends, though, it gets awkward. I do know that.
This I've never done, but I think if you did it, it would be just really awkward, especially if, I don't know, it was a good friend and you hung out a lot and you're like, we kind of did it the other day and now we're not anymore and we're not talking about it. So I wouldn't do it. Don't do it. Bad idea.
A lot of people are like, oh, that'd be really awkward. And what it comes down to is that one of my really good friends and I, a few years ago, messed around for one night, and it's not like we didn't talk about it afterwards, but we both knew going in that it was going to be a one-night thing, and it worked out pretty well.
It's okay if you know where you stand ahead of time, and if it's really just like, let's do it because sex is fun and we know each other, that's fine. But if one person is more emotionally invested than the other person, then it's a very bad idea.
I think that if you're both mature about it, you could probably just kind of get past it. And
It's better than checkers. Do you want to play chess tonight, or would you rather have sex? You know, people who can really look at it as just something fun to do and nothing that's going to bring in a tremendous amount of obligation from one or the other.
There's no monogamy, there's no like, you're not going to have sex with anyone else, and that means that it ups the ante on STD transmission.
Friends with benefits never works. Don't do it.
Everybody has to be on the same page with that. Like, the friendship has to come first.
If one person is not more emotionally invested than the other, then friends with benefits can be fine.
when I was younger, probably in my earlier 20s, that's kind of all my sexual relationships were, just friends with benefits, because it just seemed really easy. It wasn't complicated. You didn't have to talk anymore about anything except, you know, what you're doing as friends and then what you're doing as lovers.
This I have done, and it was good, and then it was bad, and it was horrible. So I don't recommend doing that. And if you do, be very open with your communication. Otherwise, feelings get hurt or bones get broken. I'm just kidding.
Yes, please.
No, I've never done multiple people at once.
I've sort of had a group sex experience. Like, it's like weird. You're around a bunch of naked people, so I can imagine like being in a big orgy. But if you want to do that, I say go for it and be careful.
Back to the one night stand with a friend, there was a girl involved too, and it was fun.
I would recommend knowing the people that you're having group sex with.
I would encourage people to do it. I would not encourage you to do it within the confines of a relationship if you don't think your relationship can take it.
For me, it's like before I have sex with somebody, I make sure they've been tested. So I don't see how that standard would change. Like if there was like group sex going on, I would probably try to, I mean, I have no idea how realistic that is, but I would still want to try to make sure that everybody was safe. And
I've just never been in love with two people at the same time, which to me is what polyamory is versus group sex or whatever. This is like a continuous, basically monogamy, except you throw in a third party.
I guess some people could do it if everybody in the situation were people who don't get jealous, then that would be fine. But Not everybody doesn't get jealous.
Friends that do this, and they love it. I don't know. It sounds like it get really confusing really quickly to me.
Just remember whose name you should be calling out.
Relationships with one person are very complicated as they are, and I think relationships with more than one people would be really ridiculous because people would be like, "Do you like them more than me?"
You would have no alone time if you were in a relationship with more than one person, and I'm pretty sure you would go crazy, or at least I would, so I would never personally do it.
I think that's, for me, that was what drove me to kind of live that kind of lifestyle, was because I didn't want to be alone. And in a relationship, sometimes you kind of have to be alone. You have to have your space, and sometimes that's hard to do.